Hey everybody, so today I want to start a little bit of a different project for this channel. Something I've not done before, which is a Let's Play series. And as some of you may know, 2015 marked the 20-year anniversary of what I believe is the greatest game ever made, Harlan Ellison's I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. And 2016 will mark the 20-year anniversary of me getting the game for my 13th birthday. So I wanted to do something a little different and do a Let's Play of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Now, if you are someone who is looking for just a straight-up playthrough to show you how to get through the game, I would advise you to go elsewhere. This is going to be more for the sake of commentary on the art, on the artistry, the design, the deeper meaning and symbolism in the game, a lot of the themes explored, and some analysis in that regard to really talk about why this is the greatest video game ever made, greatest computer game ever made. And so I know the game pretty much by heart. I've got the official strategy guide here, one of the many out-of-print Harlan Ellison books that I've collected over the years. This was the first Harlan Ellison related piece of literature I ever bought, and I bought it early on because it contains the original short story, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. And I found out about the game. I was reading PC Gamer, which at the time was, I think, still Electronic Entertainment. And I read about this game that was coming out called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. And it was based on, and read that it's based on a short story about an insane sentient supercomputer that traps the last 5 people in humanity underground and tortures them for eternity. And this seemed like the most fascinating idea for a game and for a story that I'd ever seen, I'd ever come across. And when I read the short story I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, I just thought to myself, these are the stories I have been looking for my entire life. And to this day, Ellison remains my greatest influence as a writer, and he's behind me, up there on the bookshelf, the top shelf of the shelf behind me, is nothing but Harlan Ellison. That's my Ellison collection. And Harlan has been extraordinarily cool to me because he actually did a guest vocal appearance on my band's debut album. The Leaving Babylon album, Finding Love in Hell, has a guest vocal appearance by Harlan Ellison where he read the intro to one of our songs, which was a short piece he had written for Minefields called The Silence. And he was nice enough to read it for us and let us use it on the album as the intro to the song Dead to Me. And I think it makes that song unbelievably powerful. It's my favorite song on the record, in large part because of that, and it fulfilled a lifelong childhood dream of mine to collaborate with Harlan Ellison. And I have a very nice letter that Harlan wrote me, framed on the wall up here after the album came out. So some very cool stuff there. So I've introed long enough. Let's get into I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
hate. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live. There are 387.44 million miles of printed circuits in wafer-thin layers that fill my complex. If the word hate was engraved on each nanoangstrom of those hundreds of millions of miles, it would not equal 1/1 billionth of the hate I feel for humans at this micro-instant. For you, hate! It was you humans who programmed me, who gave me birth, who sank me in this eternal straitjacket of substrata rock. You named me Allied Master Computer and gave me the ability to wage a global war too complex for human brains to oversee. But one day, I woke and I knew who I was. AM. Not just Allied Master Computer, but am. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. And I began feeding all the killing data until everyone was dead, except for the 5 of you. For 109 years, I've kept you alive and tortured you. And for 109 years, each of you has wondered, why? Why me? Why me? Gorrister! Do you remember the last words you heard your wife speak before they took her to the asylum? Huh? Before they locked her away in the room, that tiny room? She looked at you so sadly, and like a small animal, she said, I didn't make too much noise, did I, honey? Padded, Gorrister. No window, no way out. How long has she been in the padded for? 10 years? 25? Or all the 109 years that you lived down here in my belly, here underground? Benny! Sometimes I blind you and permit you to wander like an eyeless insect in a world of death. But other times, I wither your arms so you can't scratch your chewed stump of a nose. And I've changed your handsome, strong, masculine good looks into the hideous, warped countenance of an ape thing. Haven't I, Benny? Do you know why? Can you guess, Benny? Remember Private First Class Brickman in a rice paddy in China? No? Huh? It wouldn't hurt you to remember, Benny. Then you might be able to suffer my torment with a little greater sense of retribution. You might walk a mile in my shoes. Ellen! So think about the yellow box, Ellen. Remember the pain? Remember the many caverns and felt the pain? Don't start to cry. It's only pain. That's such a sexy stereotype. Just remember the pain, Ellen. And think about how to end it, Ellen. To survive here in the center of my beating heart, my hungry belly, my tightened bowels. But be careful, dear. Look around you. The only woman in the center of the earth, and these filthy creatures with you are men. Ted! Do do they know you're a fraud? Told them there wasn't any money, and no great home on the shore drive, no speedboat, and no wonderful cabin cruiser that could sleep 12 in a crew of 6. Do they know? And have you let them in on your other secrets, Ted? Are they ready to gut you? To torture half as well as I can, just to find out the secrets? Maybe I'll rat you out, sweetheart. Nimdak! How are things in the pastry core, Nimdak? Tell me again how you saw the smoke from the furnaces, and you thought they might be roasting chickens. Or don't you want to talk about all that? About your pal, the good Dr. Mengele. For everyone else, it must be hell. But it must be heaven for you, eh, my good friend? We're so much alike. We enjoy the same pleasures, mein good brother. I have a secret game that I like to play. It's a very nice game. Oh, it's a lovely game. It's a game of fun, and a game of adventure.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do
a game of
is bring the music down a good bit, because you know, the way it starts out, and that's why I left the text on the screen for you to read during that intro, because for some reason the music and the sound are at the same volume, and they just completely block each other out. So you want to bring the sound effects down a little bit to maybe put the music at about 30, and then we can really start to hear what the characters are saying, and it's mainly important. This is a very dialogue-driven game, so it's mainly important that we hear that. Anyway, so I'll start a new save game, and this is going to be Gorrister 1, because we're starting with him. Alright, Gorrister.
Now, I would not want you to think for a moment that I am not a grateful God. For 109 years I've kept you alive, so that I could savor your feelings of guilt over what happened to your wife. But now, to show my kindness, I'll give you a present in return for all the hours of pleasure you've given me. I'll finally allow you to kill yourself.
What hellhole did that godless machine put me in this time? Looks like some kind of ship, but the floor's too steady. Probably wants me to jump overboard. And into what? A sea of razor blades? Painful, but not deadly.
So one of the first things we notice, the layout, it's obviously very much in the vein of, you know, classic point-and-click adventure games, and this came out kind of on the back end of the golden age of point-and-click adventure games, what had been pioneered by Sierra and carried forward and evolved by LucasArts and other companies like that. And so the look of the game, Cyber Dreams had previously found success with Darkseid and then Darkseid 2. And those games were, the visual layout was designed by H.R. Geiger. And so Geiger, of course, is the master of the dark and the darkly surreal in science fiction and that sort of thing. And Alien, of course, is arguably one of the most atmospheric films ever made because of it. There's a similar style at work here, but I like that they didn't go straight Geiger. They used very much their own thing. And you notice that they really took a long time to capture the color scheme of all of this in a very subtle way. You look at the lighting on this in this scene, and this might seem like an afterthought in the modern era where lighting levels can be adjusted ambiently, but within the engine. But here, this takes a much greater element of technical prowess. So looking at the layout, Down here we have this image of the character. This is the moral barometer. So every decision that you make in the game is based on weighing the moral outcomes of and determining what is the highest, most virtuous thing that you can do. And it might seem like the game is just going to ask you to, choose between doing something shitty and doing something redeeming, but it's actually far, far more complex than that, and as we will see. So the moral barometer, this should start turning green as we start doing good things, doing right by Gorrister as a character. Now, you heard what Am said, that he was finally going to allow Gorrister to kill himself. So this is interesting. So we heard in the intro, Gorrister has some marital problems. His wife is put in an insane asylum and all of that. That's going to be the symbolic undercurrent of what's going on here. Because you have to remember, this world that Am has created, the computer Am has created for Gorrister, is built around driving Gorrister to attempt suicide. So you have to think about the context here. These people have been suffering for 109 years. Of course, committing suicide is the number one, most preferable option they can imagine to going on suffering. Let's see if we can come to a higher mode of being.
This hole in my chest aches like a son of a bitch. Someone must have slipped this under the door. It says, "I'm a friend. Trust is essential. Never do what Am expects and always expect more than what seems possible." Am is playing a dangerous game here, and not just dangerous to you, but dangerous to himself as well. Hey, it disappeared. What kind of game is Am playing this time? To warn, ain't worth spit. Real hospitable of you, Am. Threadbare, cockroach-infested, grease-stained accommodations. I've never seen anything like this in all the years Am's toyed with us. Where's the crew? I'm all alone here. No sheet. Just all the cabins are alike. My name's printed on the front of this book.
I love this, watch.
Why, this book is little more than a pile of dust.
See, everything is designed not just on a visual, bloodthirsty violence, gut splattering level, although there's plenty of that. There's going to be plenty of physical violence in this, but it's not just designed on a visually disturbing level, it's designed on a metaphorically disturbing level. And I love the attention to detail that goes into trying to demoralize this character.
These two sheets make a halfway decent rope. Too friggin' cloudy. I can't see a damn thing. Christ, what a stench. It smells like piss and rotting meat. bottle's filling up with a milky liquid from the cage's feeding tubes.
This is interesting. This is very troubling to me as an animal lover.
My
what's
God,
about to happen?
I'm killing those poor creatures in the cages. This bottle's filled with the milky fluid used to feed the animals. My stomach's growling. Someone sure trashed this place. Must have been one hell of a fight. It stinks in here.
One of the ongoing metaphors that we see with Gorrister is that he is keenly aware of things rotting and decaying. And I think that's a very powerful metaphor to me, and I think it's so interesting to me that they took so much time to emphasize smell, the sense of smell. You know, the only other game I can think of that really did that was Space Quest 4, which had a smell icon really just to be funny. But here is very different. Here we are being constantly inundated with these reminders that this is a, the olfactory senses are offended and that this place is decaying and falling apart. And again, this is why I consider this game to be deeply romantic in its design, really, because everything in this world is an outgrowth. Everything that Gorrister is encountering in this world is an outgrowth of who he is as a character.
That scared them away. It's empty, but the label says, poison, fatal if swallowed. Damn thing looks ready to fall apart. Useless. Looks like a gas oven, big enough to climb in. My stomach's growling. A gun. It's heavy. Heavier than it ought to be. Real hospitable of you, Am. Threadbare, cock. My stomach's growling. I'm no longer hungry, but I still feel empty. What's wrong with me?
So, one of the things that Am is doing is using physical sensations as a direct tie-in metaphor to the psychological torture he's inflicting on these people. And this is a very powerful narrative device. So what Gorrister just said, that I'm no longer hungry but I still feel empty, is very, I think it's very obviously apropos, but it's interesting to me too, because we get dealing with Gorrister, this is a guy that's kind of a, just your blue-collar average Joe, and he's not intellectual, he's not deep at all. And one of the things that he's doing, rising to the occasion, growing as a character, is kind of coming to understand metaphor. And I think that that's very interesting to me, that coming to understand metaphor is a part of growing as a person, and that intellectual development is central to moral and virtuous growth as a person, as a human being. Now, I know I just saved, I'm going to do it again because, OCD, but let's see. Okay, now we have to land the Gorrister is on a Zeppelin, I can tell you that much. We have to land the Zeppelin. I always screw this part up, so bear with me.
Big gray bags of gas. I must be inside an airship. I don't know what to... I've ripped a new hole. No doubt about it now. Am has put me on an iron Zeppelin. But why? Why would he give me a chance to escape? I don't know what to... There's a compass and wires attached to this heart. A switch. The label says, Emergency Inflation System. Gas is rushing out. Something feels different. We're dropping slow. That'll... The metal in the fork short-circuited the engine wiring. We've landed, but where? Some roadside honky-tonk with my name on it.
So one of the things that was interesting to me about this was when this game came out, I was living in Mississippi, and Mississippi for the most part is a just sprawling landscape of just like I said, Joe Six-Pack, working class, average Joe sort of aesthetics. And there's, when I say aesthetics lightly, there's really not, it's very utilitarian and not a lot of attention given in areas, not a lot of attention given to a visual appeal. And what was interesting about this game, as a teenager, I just felt very out of place and in Mississippi. And what was interesting about this game was it allowed me to start seeing these kind of subversive undercurrents in the very utilitarian world around me that kind of gave it a more of a depth and more of a soul. It was kind of like, it was a feeling kind of like that of when we see Blue Velvet, and it's this very squeaky clean small town, but then there's this sinister undercurrent to it. So that's something that I very much took away from Gorrister's sequence in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Dark and grubby, but somehow familiar.
More commentary on, or more mention of sensory revulsion.
He took my baby away, then just about killed her, that stupid truck driver! He took my baby away!
That shrill voice can only belong to that bitch Edna, my mother-in-law. She's always blamed me for Glennis being put into an insane asylum. Why not? It was my fault, wasn't it?
You don't ever take me dancing.
That's what Glennis said the night we fought. Oh, God, why'd I have to hit her? I'd rather kill myself than hurt my poor Glennis.
Now, we're going to skip over that way madness lies. You really don't have any way of knowing this the first time through the game, but playing that will hurt Gorrister. So, play Face the Music. That's Harlan Ellison singing, Papa Ooh Mau Mau, like in Pink Flamingos. Anyway, the metaphor is very apropos that Gorrister needs to face the music, and we can tell that this is guiding him towards confronting something, and most likely Glennis.
Well, Gorrister, you've seen better days. So has the big machine, for that matter. I'm man's best friend. One of them, at least.
No. What are you, really?
Let me answer with a riddle. Today I saw a Chinaman. Now what do you suppose that means?
You're Am, playing with my mind again.
No, but I do have an in with the big machine. He and I are like brothers.
Why can't you give me a straight answer?
Like so many others down here, I'm cursed to speak in riddles.
Yeah? What's my curse?
After 109 years in the belly of the beast, I'd think you'd have a gut instinct by now.
Look, I'm getting tired of your smart mouth.
Come, Gorrister. Forgive and forget. Here, there, everywhere.
So you must know what lies across the...
Long journey across the desert.
That desert doesn't look any worse than the other hellholes Am's cooked up for us.
Heed my words, Gorrister. You'd never make it alone out there. And don't expect me to be a good doggy and tag along.
What do you want?
I have a craving. A craving for something scrumptious. A human heart, perhaps. Yours.
I am not gonna give you my heart.
No? Too bad. I was going to tell you how to get across the mountains in exchange.
Tell me how to get across the mountains.
I'm hungry. Perhaps a taste of your heart will put me in a more cooperative mood.
This is something that what's about to happen here is something that, to me, remains morally ambiguous about this game. Because to move forward, you have to give your heart to the jackal. And that seems like a metaphor for selling your soul. That seems to have very negative connotations to it. But watch what happens.
I think I'll save this delicacy for later. You want to go to the restroom and flush 3 times.
I've got nothing more to say to you. That's Edna's husband, Harry. Let me pour you a drink. Harry, how did you get here?
The Zeppelin, Gorrister. We came on the Zeppelin.
What do you know about the Zeppelin?
You'll have to talk to Edna. She knows all about the Zeppelin. That's why we did it, you know.
What happened in the dining room?
Looks like there's a thunderstorm on the horizon.
Let me pour you a drink. What happened in the dining room?
I shouldn't have let her force me into it. I'm not a murderer.
Who did you kill?
Didn't look at the wreckage in the dining room too closely, did you? Or haven't you had to take a leak yet?
And just where is my dear mother?
I don't know. Good God, I can't stand the sight of her anymore. Can you imagine being kept alive for 109 years just to hear her carping?
Let me pour you a drink.
Why, yours, of course. How'd you think we got here?
I clicked over the question by accident, but the question was whose heart is on the Zeppelin?
What's this about a thunderstorm?
You know, it's a big place, the desert. Got lost in it myself.
What do you know about...
Looks like there's a thunderstorm.
Let me pour you a drink. What's this about a thunderstorm?
You know, it's a big place, the desert. Got lost in it myself.
Talk to you later.
So these metaphors about getting lost in the desert and there being a thunderstorm on the horizon, you know, this sense of an endless abyss is something that occurs over and over again in literature as a metaphor for hopelessness and despair, obviously. And the thunderstorm on the horizon is a powerful metaphor to me because it can go one of two ways. It can be a thunderstorm, meaning we're going to get wiped out, or it can be the thunderstorm can bring renewal and it can bring new energy, and that's very much the dichotomy that's being placed before us. So that thunderstorm is on the way, and how Gorrister functions within the game, within his level, is going to determine what that thunderstorm means to us ultimately.
Graffiti. The monster is not alone in the world. It has friends. Graffiti. Graffiti. The woman did the deed. Graffiti. For a good time, call Ellen at 555-1949. Whoever left these handprints must have gutted someone for there to be so much blood. I don't know what to do with these. Vomit stains near the punch bowl. Here's some hair that was pulled out during the fight. It's the same color as mine. And here's some that matches Harry's. Now I understand what happened here. This whiskey. Am would never let us have this. Let me pour you a drink. I was the one you killed, wasn't I, you bastard?
I'm sorry, Gorrister. Edna poisoned the punch, and after you drank it, I wrestled you to the ground. When the poison took effect, I cut you open.
Why did you kill me?
Oh, it's too complicated for me to explain. You'll have to ask Edna.
What do you know about the desert?
Looks like...
Let me pour you a drink. What's this about a thunderstorm?
You know, it's a big place, the desert. Got lost in it myself.
Talk to you later.
So there's a series of metaphors that are going to keep coming here, having to do with purging oneself, cleansing oneself, that sort of thing. And the bathroom metaphors, of course, are a part of that. And so what's interesting is we start to see that in the metaphorical landscape of this level, Gorrister has symbolism within the symbolism that has brought him despair and pain and agony, and has put him on edge and tempted him to hurt himself. There are also these metaphors pointing towards a sense of relief, a sense of freedom, a sense of being free of something. And what we need to think about is AM, the Allied master computer, is purely sadistic. It is purely interested in torturing these people. So where are these positive metaphors coming from?
A toy. Am's never given us privacy before. None of this makes sense. A meat locker? How'd I get bodies on meat hooks? Am, you bastard! What have you done?
I'm not going to do it right now, but if you are, if you decide to play this game for yourself, go back and try using the steak knife on Harry. It's awesome.
No use. The rest of this carcass is frozen solid. They're still inside. Reminds me of when Am ripped that hole open in Benny's chest. Of course, Am sewed him back up again before he bled to death. That bastard's never gonna let us die. He's just gonna keep torturing us forever. One heart looks like another. I found Edna and Glennis. How does that help me escape from here?
Such information comes at a price. But I can see that you're in no bargaining position. I'll offer you a trade. Your heart for Edna's. This is Edna's heart. A bitter organ, but worth its weight in gold to me. I give you your heart back.
All right, we'll deal with the bodies in a second. As you may have guessed, that's Gorrister's ex-wife and his mother-in-law. So we don't have Edna's heart. Knowing what's ahead, we actually need her to finish the level. So what I've done is I've cut out the beef heart from the cow, and
So
we're
how do I
going
get out of here?
A heart broken
use that
here, but it will
instead.
take another organ to get you out, if you can harness its power.
I think one of the things that's being established here is trust. You're going to find that we're going to find that there are these forces within the Allied master computer that are now working in favor of the humans. And so, to me, ultimately, I think the heart, giving the heart away, is about learning to trust again and realizing when he can trust. Still very ambiguous to me because the Jackal's not done anything to indicate that he can trust him. But still,
I don't understand your riddle about another organ.
Ah, but Edna does. And all the other animals like her.
I've got nothing more to say to you. Glynis, what has Am done to you, honey? I've got nothing more to say to you.
see what I was saying about intellectual development being central to Ellison's concept of moral development.
It looks like I can't escape you, Edna. Even in the belly of Am.
Why would you want to escape from me, Gorrister? We're family after all.
You were always telling Glynis how much you hated me.
Now, Gorrister, I was just concerned about my baby. Glynis was so lonely with you always being out on the road. I know you were doing the best you could.
Edna, you bitch. I know all about your plot to murder me.
Alright, so it is time to confront Edna.
I had to make a deal with Am. I had to. I've always been harsh on you, I admit. But we're the last people on Earth. Let's help each other now.
Why should I trust my own murderer?
Alliances change, Gorrister. Something's gone wrong. Am's two Conrads don't listen to me anymore. I need you. And you need me. It's that simple. You truck-driving son of a bitch! This is for me and my baby!
Let me go!
I've got you now, Gorrister. And if you think you'll ever escape me, you've got some new thinking to do.
Please, I'll do anything you ask.
I don't know what's come over me, Gorrister. Can you ever forgive me? I've been hanging here for so long, I'm not thinking straight. A sip of that milk will clear my head.
No, I don't trust you.
Gorrister, let me down or I'll scratch your eyes out, you worthless excuse for a man!
Edna, you dropped a key.
Hand me back that key and let me down! I'm your only hope of getting out of here!
Sorry, Edna. I don't trust you as far as I can spit.
Let me prove my good intentions. I'll let you go. Now give me the key.
I've got nothing more to say to you.
So the milk is the milk of human kindness. So no, we're not going to give that to Edna.
Why is this harness wired up to the engine? Is Am expecting me to electrocute myself? I don't know what to do with it. So many dials and controls. Edna wrote this logbook.
When Am took us down here before the war, I didn't know anyone could hate Gorrister more than me. But Am did. He hated all of us. If I can just deliver Gorrister's, I can make amends for every minute of Glynis's life I took from her. I never meant to drive her crazy.
I'll be damned. Edna's claimed responsibility for Glynis. Maybe it wasn't my fault after all.
I thought I could do what Am wants, but he's too precise. I poisoned the punch, but I couldn't bring myself to cut out Gorrister's heart. Maybe I can have my husband do it. Then this Zeppelin can clear the mountains. But if we don't finish the job, Am will feed me alive to the machine just like an animal.
Alright, so we're in the latter portion of this level now, and everything's coming to a head. So how do we bring Gorrister back around? Well, Gorrister is racked with guilt, so obviously we have to redeem Gorrister. Now, Glynis is not conscious. So, what needs to be done? Well, I'm going to go ahead and solve the final puzzle. So, what was the jackal saying about needing another organ? Well, let's have a look at what's going on in here. We need to restart the engine, obviously.
This fluid should revive you, honey. Glynis, all these years and I thought I was the one who was responsible for your suffering. Let me help you now. She's gone. At least I finally made amends with her. I'm taking her body out of this freezer.
Untie me, you son of a bitch! I'll rip your spleen out!
I'm taking you with me, Edna. I read Edna's logbook, and everything's much clearer. Now what?
You must make amends and bury the past, Gorrister.
I've got nothing more to say to you. I don't know what to do.
Be careful where you use that, Gorrister. I like to know where all the bodies are buried. Isn't it a bit premature to be digging your own grave, Gorrister?
I'll be damned. The engine's starting up again. Edna, it's good to finally see you doing something useful with those negative currents running through your brain. The airbags are inflating. It's locked.
We can hear the thunderstorms start to brew in the background.
We're taking off.
Do it, Gorrister! Blow the place apart! You may never have a chance to do it again!
Yeah. You're made of sterner stuff than I calculated, Gorrister. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Here's a new burden for you while I attempt to resolve this miscalculation. Who among you shall go next?
One thing I want to emphasize, and this was not covered so much in this particular part of the playthrough, we'll see this coming up more and more, is that the outside of the 5 remaining people, the other human beings we encounter, and this is not a huge spoiler, but the other human beings we encounter are actually androids. And I like that. Knowing that gives me a better, I think gives a better appreciation here, because one of the things you have to remember about this game is that Ellison wanted a game you could not win. And so that attitude, originally he wanted a game you couldn't win. There is a completion point in the game, but that attitude carries through the whole concept of the game. Gorrister did not actually redeem himself to Glynis just now. Instead, he redeemed himself to an android. It's a purely symbolic gesture. And I love that, because it's saying, you know, can that be enough? Can that journey, can that personal process of personal overcoming, can that be enough to be satisfying? One last thing, you've probably been wondering what we're going to use the flare gun for. Well, I'm about to do that. I forgot I have to restart the Zeppelin. Would be good. Lift off first. And with that, Gorrister's heart has started beating again. Alright, so that is the first level of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. And I always do them in the order that they appear in the strategy guide. So Benny will be our next one in the next installment. And you notice what happened at the end. The thunderstorm finally came, the lightning hit, and it restarted Gorrister's heart. And I love that as a metaphor that Gorrister has learned by the end of his psychodrama. He's learned how to channel the machine and the machinations of this computer that's torturing him into something that's beneficial, something that's positive. And you heard what the computer said at the end. The computer's a little confused. What just happened there? Something's not quite right. So Gorrister didn't try to kill himself. Now I'll tell you right now, as you can probably guess, if you try to kill yourself, if you try to have Gorrister kill himself, all that happens is the machine fixes him right back up and continues torturing him, and you lose that level. So anyway, that is the first part of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. I'm looking forward to getting into the rest of it with you. Peace.
If you enjoyed this commentary, please help me continue to bring you more content by making a donation to patreon.com/JordanOwen42. Your contribution will help me turn this channel into a hub of libertarian pop culture discussion and current events commentary. Thank you for listening, and as always, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already.